revenge will surely come. Hard times are ahead. Best, you got to be the best. You got to change the world and use this chance to be heard. Yeah, time is now. Time is change everything you are and everything you your number has been called. Fights and battles have begun. Revenge will surely come. Yeah, hard times are ahead. Best, you've got to be the best. You've got to change the world and use this chance to be heard. Yeah, time is
Are we going to blue or where are we going?
Oh, I was saying.
Just
Alright,
move
I'm
around the
going
back side of it.
Going hallway, going hallway.
Watch out for the
Fix
Yeti.
it, melee, watch out, melee, watch.
Use Stormlash if it's up. I already hear it for people who die.
Watch out for the Yeti.
Metal.
Are both portals out?
I'm using.
I'm doing mine now.
Okay.
Push, push, push.
Chris, go ahead and take him for vengeance for
My Stormlash
attack
is
this
down.
guy soon. Why? Vengeance
Break.
drops
Break.
off.
Get his ass.
Alright.
We got this, guys. But everybody's not alive. We can't kill them.
Him a hole.
You're right. Wipe
I
believe in you guys. I think we got this one, guys.
I think we might be killing this thing.
No.
Just a thought.
Wipe it.
Yes!
Yeah.
Good fucking job, guys.
That was a clean kill. Good job, guys.
I got you, Joe.
Nice.
Freaking heart's racing.
Yeah.
You ain't lying.
Snow had just fallen. Glistening in the forest of the penises, Fred, a lover of the cock, decided to take a stroll through the forest. He was admiring the shafts of the trees and how tall they were when he came to a clearing where he found a trove of testicles. "What a find!" he exclaimed as he weighed the testicles in his hand, then popped them in his mouth to give them a swirl. Fred removed his clothes and pranced over to the pile of balls. He dove in and smiled as he felt them roll over his naked skin. As he looked up with a grin on his face, he was shocked to see what lay before him. It was indeed a pond of cum. Thoughts of happiness filled Fred's mind. With great joy, he ran and dove into the pond, and immediately began guzzling it down by the gallon. The sweet taste fulfilled his craving for man sauce. He couldn't help but remember his college years and his sweet bukkake parties. The feeling of piles of cum dripping off his face gave him no better feeling. As he enjoyed his glorious bath, he glanced up and saw a Jigglypuff. "I'm a sick fuck, so I'll make it suck me off," he said, grabbing it and forcing it down. Instead, it tore his dick off and beat him unconscious with it. When he came to 4 hours later, his kidneys were missing. Fred quickly reached for his backpack to grab a tummy tickler to rehydrate. Thankfully, his mom packed a couple extra for his long journey. Knowing he wouldn't last long without help, a common problem for him, he set off to find the Penis Forest Fairy. The Penis Forest Fairy, as he knew from experience, could do amazing things for Fred, but he always had a price. One Fred would gladly pay. Next page. As he began his search, the skies darkened, and oobleck began to rain down. This could only mean one thing. The wizard must be nearby. "I must find this Penis Fairy quickly," he said to himself, and he took cover under the shaft of the biggest cock tree he could find, waiting for the oobleck storm to end. "Oh, Penis Fairy, great master of the wand, please help me. I must find you." And before his eyes, a trail of cum began to lead him deeper into the forest. That sticky stuff, he wished. The wizard was dead. He had an idea he could sneak up on the wizard from behind and rape him. Though his plan would be foiled due to the fact that he had a hole where his penis was. He would have to seduce the wizard instead. It was at that moment he had a brilliant idea. He picked up an acorn and placed it in the hole where his dick used to be. "It's even bigger than it was before," he exclaimed. With his confidence at an all-time high, he began to sneak up on the wizard to rape him to death. As the rape commenced, blood trickled down the wizard's asshole. With a smile on his face, Fred shouted, "Take every inch of me, you vile wizard!" At this point, the wizard was so ashamed of the atrocity that was taking place, he lost his will to live. Fred continued thrusting both inches of himself furiously just before the wizard fell over to his death. He let out one final spell. A frightful scream echoed through the penis forest. Suddenly afraid, Fred began to feel strange. Something was happening to his body, a sensation he never felt before. His body had changed into that of Whoopi Goldberg. "This feels right," he thought to himself. For the first time in a long time, Fred felt free to be who he really was, a moderately successful middle-aged black woman. But what was this? After a few short moments, Fred then changed back to his former self. "What is happening to me?" Fred exclaimed, while staring at the hole in his body where the acorn he once used to rape the wizard used to rest. It was at this time he began to change again. Fred could not feel his arms, nor his legs. He then found himself bouncing instead of walking. Making the best of the situation, he quickly bounced over to the pond that he had just so recently enjoyed, in hope that its gleaming light might reveal what he had already suspected. He was a pair of bouncing balls. He looked over into the pasture of flowing fucks and saw a myriad of bouncing balls alone in their natural habitat. "After these balls!" he screamed, leaping after them like a feral animal on the hunt. As he charged towards the balls, a figure approached. The face was nothing but a blur, but he saw a pair of solid 7 man boobs. It was the infamous Penis Fairy. He opened his mouth to speak, and Fred heard the most homosexual voice ever. "Fred, I have come to teach you how to fondle these balls." Fred was excited for this tutorial and turned to listen intently, but as he turned to where the Penis Fairy stood, nothing remained, and a message popped up. "Adam Hunton has gone offline." Guess I'm gonna have to take care of these balls myself," Fred exclaimed as he continued towards them. Next page. Before Fred marched off, he noticed a vacancy on his back. "My tummy ticklers!" It was only then he noticed a group of mischievous balls frolicking away with his backpack. "Stop it!" Fred asserted as he sprinted towards them. Fred became more furious and desperate with each hop. Noticing that Fred was indisposed, the balls had turned around in pursuit of Fred. Fred was terrified as he ran for his life. Fred hopped as fast as his little balls would let him. To no avail, they caught him quickly. The balls had all suddenly grew very erect, large cocks and began to beat Fred until he lied there, unconscious as a pair of bloody, bruised numbnuts. As Fred lay there unconscious, he slowly began to become erect himself. He awoke and called out to the balls as they walked away. "Is that all you got, you pussies?" The whole pack turned around and proceeded to ravage him in and out until he could take no more. They came up to his face and he begged them to come inside. So they took the tips of their cock and stuck them into his urethra and one by one began to come inside him. After all the cocks came inside his dick, it was bloody and flaccid as exiting a climax. Fred, on the edge of giving up completely, thought back to his days as the Mississippi penis-taking champion. Those days of training and taking ass-pounding after ass-pounding gave Fred the determination he needed for one final push. Only the biggest penis remained to be drained, and Fred mustered all of his strength, let out a stampeding roar. A little too late or a little too early, he wasn't sure, and threw himself on that monstrous penis, taking it all the way in. Fred, in throes of passion, let out a cry of victory, shouting at the top of his lungs, "Look at that stud! I dropped the..." Look at that stud on top of that cock. In that moment, Fred knew his accomplishment warranted a new name. Fred then died of AIDS. The end.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
That was
Go with
amazing.
the Cartman ending. I like it.